had the songs, the music, the movies, the clothing, the attitude. It was all there.
Hey, Mom, so rude.
She had a lot of ambition to change the world.
That is not what I want to do.
But that just changed within a few weeks.
I asked her if she wanted me to intervene.
We thought, fine, he's gone away.
Shelter coming 911, what's your emergency? I don't know what happened. She's full of blood. Please send somebody quickly.
He was that kind of mentality. You don't like me, I'm gonna hate you.
If this was an accident, you wouldn't leave the love of your life bleeding out on the floor of a dining room.
It's just shattered our whole family.
I would ask her, I was like, hey, is everything alright with your sister? Stuff has kind of been picking up and acting weird for me for about the past month, and so I asked Rowena, I was like, what's going on?
He would constantly message her on Facebook, would message her via text messages. He would call her, and she would ignore him.
This is like the second time I've just asked you, what's going on?
When he wasn't able to get a hold of Rowena, he started sending me text messages asking why Rowena was ignoring him, why she had so suddenly changed her mind to back out of this relationship.
She blocked me from everything.
He told me he would leave her alone.
I'm not trying to create drama. I'm not trying to harass. I'm not trying to do any of that.
We were just living our lives hoping that he would just ignore her and go away.
I'm just a nice guy that always gets over, honestly.
She said, what's the worst that'll happen? He'll shoot me with a rifle or point a rifle to my head.
It's August the 10th, 1997, in Karachi, Pakistan. It's a big night in the young life of 3-year-old Rowena Irani. Her uncle, Cyrus Irani, is marrying his bride, Nazneen, at the Metropole Hotel.
Cyrus's wedding was very exciting. Rowena was excited to have so many family members from abroad and gifts and music and food. So I think she was more excited for that than actually the wedding.
The wedding is a Zoroastrian ceremony. Zoroastrianism is a religion that originates from ancient Persia, modern-day Iran. Rowena's father, Bayram, holds her hand. Her mother, Tourange, and 7-year-old brother, Rushad, follow behind.
Zoroastrian weddings, just like in any other weddings, the groom is there first and he waits for the bride. This is a little procession, the bridegroom entering the hotel, and we are walking with Cyrus until he sits down. So now it is Cyrus's bride, Nazneen, who is entering the hotel, and this is her side of the family. Rowena is very impressed not only with the dresses, but I think she wants to be in the limelight. I think she thinks it's all about her. She thought it was her big day instead of Cyrus's Nazneen's big day.
At the wedding, the bride and groom are seated as the ceremony begins.
The front seat of the banquet hall is usually reserved for family members, and sitting on the corner there, I think Rowena and I had the best seat. She probably wanted to go run off while I'm keeping her in her seat, make sure she doesn't run off.
Rushad has watched over his little sister ever since she was born on February 18th, 1994.
Rushad was always very protective. They had a very, very sweet bond with each other. They were always together.
Growing up, Rowena and I were close. We would hang out with the same people, we had the same friends, so we saw each other every day. We were very close then as a family.
Rushad, on the whole, was a good boy. He was obedient, he would listen. But Rowena was stubborn and sassy and a little difficult. She had a mind of her own, let's put it that way.
After the ceremony, Cyrus and Nazneen cut their wedding cake.
Rowena is tired by that time, but when she saw the cake, Rowena thought that she was the one who was going to cut the cake. And I kept on telling her that it's not your birthday, you're not the one who's going to cut the cake, it's Uncle Cyrus and Nazneen because it's their wedding.
Rowena is trying to get into the middle of all of the attention and potentially get the first piece of that cake. She enjoyed being the center of attention.
Living in Pakistan is not easy. It's very little choices for education.
The Irani family applied for U.S. citizenship in 1989. 15 years later, in 2004, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services approves their application.
But we thought about the children, that Rushad and Rowena can benefit a secured life, a happy life, whatever education, whichever university they want to go to, they can study.
The Irani family moves from Karachi to Wichita, Kansas. It's a huge transition for everyone, especially 14-year-old Rushad.
Moving to a Midwest school at the age of 14 from Pakistan 3 years after 9/11 was very difficult. Most people assume that if you're from Pakistan or a Middle Eastern country, you are a Muslim. All they saw was a brown kid who was not Hispanic, had a last name of Irani, and just came from Pakistan, and so I was the easy target for them. And the same was for Rowena as well. It wasn't all rainbows and sunshine and butterflies as we were hoping for.
Dad Bayram secures a job in logistics for a major retailer. Mom Tourange becomes a primary school teacher.
So in 2006, we could actually feel our life getting a little better. We moved into our house. That was our very first house in Wichita.
It very much felt like a new beginning and a new chapter in our lives. I made some close friends when I was on the swim team for my high school. It was easier for Rowena to make friends. Rowena was what you would consider an all-American teenager. She had the American accent down, she had the songs, the music, the movies, the clothing, the attitude. It was all there.
Rowena joins her junior high school's Reserve Officer Training Corps in 2009. She soon earns a place on the Color Guard drill team. It competes against other teams from across Kansas.
This would be our junior varsity. Rowena is the person carrying the black cased flag. I am the person carrying the red cased flag. This is just a presentation of how well in time and well in line the team can keep.
Rowena was not interested in joining military. She just wanted to join the JROTC just for fun.
The running joke always was that she chose it so she wouldn't have to get on the school bus and would be driven to the school by me. Her passion for it brought Rowena a lot of confidence to be able to make friends and a lot of discipline in her life to be able to make it through high school without issues. Rowena and Courtney got very close during their ROTC time.
We would joke around and have a lot of fun during those practices. I did not know a single person that did not like Rowena. She had the most friendly, outgoing personality that I have ever seen.
Rowena graduated from Wichita Heights High School, May of 2012.
She was admitted into the Wichita State University's psychology program.
Rashad lived at home during his time at college. Rowena chooses to do the same.
This happened quite often, almost on a weekly basis for Rowena. My mom and I, even my dad, would just play fight around just like this.
I draw. Shit, quit hitting mom. It's so rude.
It doesn't seem like a mother-daughter and son relationship. It seems like three friends are having a silly, fun time together. I was seeing her grow. I was seeing her every single day. We came to the U.S. to give my children a better, secured, happy, good education environment. But we should have just stayed in Karachi.
Year-old Rowena Irani prepares to do the Ice Bucket Challenge to raise awareness of the disease ALS.
Hey guys, I've just been nominated by my uncle Cyrus Irani for the Ice Bucket Challenge.
The Ice Bucket Challenge was like every other person was doing it. She had to take buckets of ice and pour it all over herself.
I now nominate Amber Richardson, Andrea Levert, and Dane Owens for this challenge. You had 24 hours to complete it.
The way the ALS challenge was designed was you were to nominate 3 other people to do it, and the third person she nominated was Dane Owens. Rowena met Dane Owens through me and my close group of friends. We used to hang out with Dane at his parents' lake house. His parents were very wealthy and owned this very, very beautiful, luxurious lake house. Dane was active duty in the U.S. Army. He had spent at least one tour overseas in either Iraq or Afghanistan. I knew he was involved in some type of an explosion that resulted in a head injury, after which he was moved from the active military into a reserve status. And at that point, he started taking classes at Wichita State University.
After Rowena met Dane for the first time, she had told me, just casual of, yeah, I have a little crush on Dane, but it's not going to go anywhere at this time. I know that she continued to text him. They would message on Facebook, tag each other in different photos or memes that would be online. Rowena's priority was school, setting herself up for success for her future. Romance was never at the forefront for Rowena.
Rowena always used to say that she was going to never need a man or want a man in her life. She would just retire on some beach house with 2 dogs, a German Shepherd and a pug.
Her dog Max was this roly-poly pug that she treated as a baby. She loved this dog.
Rowena preferred to stay in her PJs and watch a movie at home and play with Max instead of being with her friends. At this time, Rowena wanted to try university life because university life is so different than staying at home. So she wanted to transfer from Wichita State University to Kansas State University in Manhattan, Kansas.
Out of pure coincidence, while Rowena was studying psychology up at K-State, Dane was at K-State as well studying. He was getting a degree in social services. He and Rowena would meet up once in a while and just continued to maintain a good friendship.
Rowena develops a kidney infection after 2 months away at college. She moves back home to Wichita.
Once she moved back home, she and Dane really started to reconnect over text message and checking in on her, making sure that she was okay and that she was recovering. He would let her know, hey, I'm going to be in town, and she would follow up with, okay, well, while you're in town, do you want to go hang out? And he would agree. And then the time and date would come for them to go hang out, and he would flake out on her. For her, that was incredibly frustrating because she knew he was in town, but he couldn't make that time for her. She finally just said, you're popping in and out, I'm done with it, you can't keep doing this. And she kind of put him to the back of her mind and started moving forward.
Rowena studies hard for her degree in psychology.
She became so serious about her studies the way I have never ever seen her before. She decided that she wanted to do her master's in teen psychology.
Part of the curriculum involved some practical experience. I had to know how children reacted given different circumstances. So she asked if she could do a little test with my daughter.
Do they have the same amount, or does one have more Play-Doh in it?
We have more Play-Doh.
Which one has more Play-Doh in it?
This one.
That one has more Play-Doh in it? Why does that one have more Play-Doh?
It's two.
It looked like Riley did incredibly well.
How bad?
And so Rowan was like, oh, okay, we've got a smart kid on our hands here.
Do these have the same, or are they different?
I was really very proud at that point that her head was focused in studies. She wanted to do her master's, and she was helping children.
Stop.
We were seeing a big difference in her, and we were very, very proud of what she was achieving. But that just changed within a few weeks. May 25th, 2016 was Rushad's wedding. We had a lot of guests coming from out of state or other countries. There was a lot of noise, a lot of music and food. It was a very festive, very happy environment for everybody.
2 years earlier, Rashad joined the police in Derby, a town 10 miles south of Wichita. He plans to move out of the Irani family home after the wedding to live with his new bride in Derby.
It was a little bittersweet. Rashad is getting married and he'll live on his own with his wife. He won't be in the house as much as I would have wanted him to be. So it was mixed feelings.
We had quite a few local friends who attended the wedding. Dane came back for the wedding from K-State. He was still a student there. Rena spent quite a bit of time with Dane at the wedding. I do recall them sitting together quite a few times and being on the dance floor together as well.
Two months after the wedding, Rowena tells her family that she and Dane are officially dating.
Dane was very kind, very sweet. The first date he took her on was very well thought out. He made an entire day out of it and picked her up very early in the morning and didn't bring her home until very late evening.
What I heard from Rushad, that Dane was a nice guy and very respectful, very nice. Rushad said, Mom, you don't have to worry. I know him since so many years and he's a good guy. We've been to his house many times. His parents are so good.
There was a long distance aspect to their relationship because Rowena was here in Wichita and Dane was in Manhattan, and it was about a 2.5 hour drive.
Dane was putting an effort in to see Rowena. month into the relationship, I believe that Dane really started pressing Rowena to take their relationship a little bit more seriously.
Rowena receives a 1-month anniversary card from Dane. Inside is a letter that describes his feelings for her.
Dane unexpectedly told Rowena that he wanted to marry her by the end of the year, and he wasn't getting any younger, and he wanted kids.
Rowena really had the impression that Dane was kind of go with the flow and just, we're cool where we're at, we're gonna be all right. But he was ready for something a lot more serious than she was.
Rowena told him, I don't want a marriage, I don't want kids until part of my career has been set. She told Dane to back away, give her some space, and let her figure things out.
I think Dane respected the conversation for probably all of a week or two. When Dane started talking marriage again, Rowena really decided it's time to pump the brakes. Like, we cannot go any further. You can't let this talk go of us being together, being in a relationship, getting married. You won't let that go. Rowena realized she had to end the relationship. Dane did not take the news well. He continued to try and text Rowena, to call Rowena.
Dane would constantly message her on Facebook, would message her via text messages. He would call her, and she would ignore him. So when Dane wasn't able to get a hold of Rowena, he started sending me text messages asking why Rowena was ignoring him, why she had so suddenly changed her mind to back out of this relationship. I asked her if she wanted me to intervene. She said, no, not quite yet. And she said, what's the worst that'll happen? He'll shoot me with a rifle or point a rifle to my head. To me, being her older brother and a law enforcement officer, I did not think that was funny. I texted Dane on this 30th of September asking him to leave her alone. Their relationship was over and that they needed to move on. I told Dane if he was going to continue pestering her or messaging Rowena, I was going to file a harassment charge against him. And Dane told me that wasn't necessary. He would leave her alone. We were just living our lives hoping that he would just ignore her and go away.
The text messages and everything stopped. And we thought, fine, he's gone away, he's gone back to Manhattan. But we didn't know he had other plans.
Hello? I just said to County 911. Yes, my daughter, I came home right now and she's full of blood. Somebody has hit her. I don't know what happened. She's full of blood. Please send somebody quickly.
Sedgwick County Emergency Dispatchers, our 911, received a call. A lady had been found in her house with an injury.
Rowena normally comes to pick me up at 3:30 from school. There was no sign of Rowena. My co-worker, she said, let me take you home. When I opened the garage door, I saw Rowena near the dining table in a pool of blood.
When the officers arrived, they found Miss Arani on the floor in the dining room area, just outside the kitchen. The injury was to her head.
Was there anything around her head? Who was the first? Who's the where's she at?
Miss Arani was unconscious. She was breathing. Didn't appear it was accidental. It definitely appeared as if somebody had done something to her.
EMS rushes Rowena to the hospital. Doctors CT scan Rowena's head to reveal the cause of her injury.
I went to the hospital. It was about a 15-minute drive. I think I made it there in 6 because I was flying down the highway. several officers present at the door, and they escorted me into a interview room, away from the trauma bay and everything.
Early stages trying to determine what has happened. I understand that the victim is your sister, is that correct? We're told that you might have some information on who the suspect could possibly be.
Correct.
Who would that be?
His name is Dane Owens, D-A-N-E. Owens. About that time, a medical staff member walks into the interview room and told me I could go in and see her.
Rowena's CT scan has revealed the extent of her head injury.
The neurosurgeon came in and said that she had been shot and that it was a fatal head wound. I didn't really register the words that were being said because I was just in shock. I remember sitting down in a chair next to her, just asking her to wake up, to say something.
When I went to the ICU unit, I asked Rashad, did they already do surgery on Rowena? And he held me by my shoulders. He looked me in the eye and he said, Mom, Rowena is not going to make it. Her brain is totally damaged. There is nothing to operate on. To hear that your child is not going to make it and that she was shot, I crumbled down. There was no hope for any improvement. She was only alive because of the monitors.
Doctors pronounced Rowena dead at 2:48 p.m., October 4th, 2016. Forensics officers scour the Irani's home for clues to reveal the circumstances of Rowena's shooting.
At the scene, what there wasn't was a sign of struggle. We didn't see anything like broken or pushed or out of sorts. And now they learn that it's gunshot, so they're going to be looking for a point of direction. Crime scene discovered a small hole in the window. It was at her height, where the bullet would have gone through the back of her head, through the dining room window. And they also found a casing from a .45 caliber firearm near the fireplace.
When the officers received the information about Dane Owens, we tasked officers to locate him.
Did you just wake up from a nap?
He comes to the door, appears drowsy, and doesn't have a shirt on, has shorts on, and his hand is in a sling because he had shoulder surgery.
We came out to talk to you about an ex-girlfriend that you had recently into a relationship. Did you?
Yeah,
Rowena, she had some sort of accident today, and detectives were wanting to maybe try to get a little background on it.
When they say that Rowena had been in an incident, he didn't seem surprised, didn't ask how she was, didn't ask about the hospital, didn't ask a thing about her. Kind of no reaction to that at all.
We're going to see if maybe you'd be willing to come with us down to the 6th floor and talk to the detectives, and we can give you a ride down there and give you a ride back. How's that sound? Do you need to get some clothes on? All right, can I go with you? All right.
Officers transport Dane to Wichita PD for questioning.
Hello, man. Hello. Detective Chisholm, Detective Showman. I know this. Mr. Owens would talk about his relationship with Miss Irani. She wouldn't communicate with you anymore by phone or anything, right?
she blocks me from everything.
So if you're going to talk to her, the only way would be face to face. The fact that Miss Irani broke up with him, he felt was somewhat of a slight to him.
I'm just a nice guy that
took the gun so that she would take him seriously.
It was in my hand. But she came around and just startled me. Just hold it.
Right after the gun goes off, what do you do?
I tried to see where it was being. I thought she was dead, and so I just left.
He left the house and went back to his truck and then drove out of the neighborhood. He threw the magazine into a pond. He placed the gun under some rocks. We had officers go out and recover that. Okay, back with you, just me. After Mr. Owens explained to us the circumstances of how he came in and the gun went off when he was startled, I stepped out of the room and obtained a fake gun. Can you show us how you were holding the gun? He was trying to explain how the gun was against his right hand and in the sling itself. He could not recreate a way for that gun to be in the sling with his finger on the trigger and for the gun to fire and strike Miss Irani where it hit her in the head.
Ow. That hurt.
I just didn't feel like this was an unintentional discharge. He went there intending to kill her. The reason I'm calling you is to talk to you about Dana Owens. During the investigation, we talked to a number of women who used to know Mr. Owens to get background information about Mr. Owens' behaviors. What his triggers are, what led the motive behind what happened to Rowena. I didn't say that I was verbally abused. What was going on? He was very unstable. You never knew what kind of mood he was in. When we looked at the interviews of women who had known Mr. Owens, you could see that type of mentality of, if you don't like me, then I'm just going to be horribly upset at you, and I'm going to hate you. I remember not knowing what to do. I think I tried to be nice. What we see is a pattern. He becomes very attached, too much so, obsessively so, and that then when the women start to separate themselves from him, he becomes angry. It's a personal attack against him.
Dane Owens' trial for murder begins on October 31st, 2018. He says that the shooting was an accident. He claims that a medical condition caused him to pull the trigger when Rowena startled him.
His defense was because of trauma that he had experienced in the military. He had a reflex disorder with loud noises, labeled as PTSD.
Owens told investigators that the pistol was partially concealed within his sling when it fired.
Our version to the jury was different than that because of where she was shot. He said he had the gun in his sling, and his sling was waist level. If you're standing and it goes off accidentally, it would have hit her center mass. But it would have had to have been raised high enough to be able to shoot her in the area where she was struck, her head. The gun was a semi-automatic, and so that would have kicked out the shell casing. So if the gun would have been in this sling, it would have kicked the casing out in the sling. If the gun was extended out of the sling, the shell casing would have kicked into the house. Didn't kick in the sling, it kicked out.
In a sling, Owen's gun is too low to fire a bullet that goes through Rowena's head and the window behind her.
The sling was in his right hand, but he could fire with his left and chose to use his left. He was able to use his good working arm on the night that Rowena was murdered. If this was an accident, you would call and you'd get 911, you'd get an ambulance. You wouldn't leave the love of your life bleeding out on the floor of a dining room for her mom to come and find her. We went through hiding the evidence of what he did, getting rid of her phone, getting rid of the gun. Those are things that we argued to show this was planned to kill her with premeditation. On the day in question, he sat for over an hour in the truck waiting for that time when she would come home. He let himself in our house knowing that he wasn't welcome there, saw her standing in the dining room and shot her in the head, looked at her, made a decision to never render her any assistance whatsoever, take her phone, drive away, dump the gun, dump her phone. Dane couldn't stand rejection and wanted to have control enough over her at gunpoint to convince her either to stay with him or that if she wasn't going to be with him, she wasn't going to be with anybody else, and killed her.
On November 6, 2018, the jury finds Dane guilty of felony murder in the first degree. The judge sentences him to 25 years to life for first-degree murder with the possibility of parole and 43 months for aggravated burglary.
This person should never, ever, ever come out of the prison. Never. It was not an accident by any means, and he should be not given the chance for parole. He didn't give my daughter a chance. We came to the US to give my children a better, secured, happy, good education environment. And the least that I was expecting that somebody is going to come in my house and take her life. A big part of us has died. It's just broken. It's just shattered our whole family.
Rowena was an organ donor. We had no idea that she had made that decision on her 18th birthday when she went to get her driver's license. Her lungs, heart, liver, and her corneas were transplanted to other recipients. That's a way of Rowena letting me know that she is still here, still making decisions. We have the Rowena Irani Psychology Scholarship set up at the Wichita State University, and it's geared toward students who are looking for a career in psychology.
It was just so beautiful that there is a legacy that holds her name. And so, you know, though she is not with us, but her legacy will live on forever and ever.